Into A to Z Sports, prime time on a Monday night. Hope your week got off to a good start. Hope you're ready to keep that good energy rolling here with the prime time show. We are going to get into something that I found to be absolutely unacceptable over the weekend, and that was what I saw from the Titans' projected win totals for the 2021 season, according to William Hill. Now, there's a reason that we use DraftKings Sportsbook around here, because they don't put out a bunch of crap like William Hill did. But I'll explain to you why it is completely and totally ridiculous the way that William Hill has disrespected the Titans, not just because of what their projected win total is, but because of who has more projected wins than them in their own division. We will spend some time on that over the course of this evening's show. We'll talk about this thing going on in European soccer, super teams, super leagues to be more specific, and we'll apply that concept to the NFL. We'll ask you guys who would be in an NFL super league. Then, of course, Alex Smith announcing his retirement earlier today. We'll talk about whether the Comeback Player of the Year award should be named after Alex Smith. I think it's a worthwhile conversation to have. Now that more of you are piling in on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV, you guys can share these shows or this show across all of your favorite platforms, no matter where it is that you choose to consume us. If you're live with us on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I've just done it myself. If you're with us on Twitter, you can retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, as I have just done. You can share this show on YouTube and on Twitch TV as well. You can get all your people involved here on a Monday night. And now that more of you are here, we can go ahead and begin the show officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports prime time on a Monday from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. That is where you go if you want to do business with a local company that cares about people. The best in the business, great upfront pricing, non-commissioned sales staff, and a name that you can trust for nearly 40 years here in Middle Tennessee. That's the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, not putting out crap like William Hill. DraftKings Sportsbook is just trying to find ways to make you money really, really easy, and doing so successfully, as they have done for me. Use the promo code A to Z Sports to get in on all of the action in the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Gary Ashton, the official real estate agent of the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Predators, who are currently up 3-1 against the Chicago Blackhawks as we sit here tonight, and A to Z Sports Prime Time. Trust the best in the business. Trust the Gary Ashton team at GaryAshton.com. And if you need to put your trust in anybody for HVAC service, satisfaction guaranteed, that is Brymak Mechanical. For both commercial needs and residential, Brymak will get it done. Brymak. That's Brymak.com. Okay, so let's talk about these win totals, because I saw this this was Friday night, I think, that William Hill put them out. And I saw this and was truly taken aback, not just because I think the Titans were I think the Titans are such an interesting proposition just in terms of a value play, because I think they are criminally, year after year, at least in the last, 4 years maybe. Let's say the last 4 years, just to have a more complete sample size. Consistently, the Titans, if you are betting on season win totals ahead of time, they consistently give you great value because they are consistently underrated. That's because nobody watches the Tennessee Titans outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and the ignorance shows through when the win totals are projected, outside of looking at the records and seeing 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, and then of course the 11-5 that they had last year. So the Titans, the latest projections by William Hill, I'll share with you them here in just a second. But I want to ask you the question. Actually, I'll share them with you right now, because this goes back to Adam Rank. All right, Adam Rank of the NFL Network picking the Titans to go 3-13 the year they went to the AFC title game, and it just screams of ignorance of people who don't watch the Tennessee Titans. Now, I've long since gotten over, how much attention Titans fans want from the national media. I understand it. You guys are going to do it no matter how much I bitch about it. So let go and let football God at this point, as far as I'm concerned. But ultimately, when it comes to people who are giving uninformed opinions, I think we have found the latest example of that, not just because of how the Titans are being valued, but because who is being given greater value than the Tennessee Titans, something that I find to be incredibly asinine based on the logic and reason that has since been laid out. But we'll get to that here in a second. The Titans right now, by William Hill, are being projected at 9.5 wins in a 17-game NFL season. Now, 9.5 wins sounds solid, right? You're basically betting on 10 wins, 10-7 in an expanded NFL regular season. That doesn't sound too bad at all. It should be in consideration. 10 wins doesn't necessarily guarantee a trip to the playoffs, but it does, obviously, to have double-digit wins, increase your chances by a large percentage. It does, however, take into effect an expanded regular season and an expanded postseason with one new wild card game for each of the NFL's conferences. 9.5 right now is the projected win total for the Titans in 2021. My question for you, my Two Rivers Ford take for you, or your Two Rivers Ford take that you can weigh in with right now, are the Titans over, under, or projected just right at 9.5 wins? Let me know on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, and on Twitch TV. We will discuss at length together here in the comment sections. Let me know your Two Rivers Ford take. While you guys do that, I will tell you about our friends at Two Rivers Ford. Like I said, if you're like me, now more than ever, you want to do business with a local company that cares about people. That's why I tell you about my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Since the minute that they opened their doors all the way back in 1983, Two Rivers Ford has been giving their customers quality American-made vehicles at fair upfront pricing. They're big believers in a no-pressure buying experience, which is one of the main reasons why they have a non-commissioned sales team. Their formula has obviously worked because now, almost 40 years later, Two Rivers Ford is one of the most trusted names in Middle Tennessee, no matter what kind of brands you're talking about. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, go to the dealership with the name that people trust. Go see my friends at Two Rivers Ford. They're in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles east of the airport, or online at tworiversford.com. They will treat you right, as they do all of the people who would consider giving them their business. Two Rivers Ford take here on a Monday night. Music City Bets says, let's hear this gambling discussion from one Buck Rising, LOL. Well, it's not, Rick, here's what I'll say, right? Because I can't, it is morally objectionable for me to place wagers on the Tennessee Titans, given the nature of my job. Now, I will bet Vols, I will bet Preds, I will bet Grizzlies, college baseball. I'll bet everything else other than the NFL because I am an NFL reporter and I feel that would be morally objectionable. So it's not necessarily a gambling conversation. It's more about how the value exists because nobody watches this damn team. And I can't understand how we find ourselves in this position year after year after year looking at the local professional football team. So under, over, or value just right at 9.5 wins. Let me know how you feel about the Tennessee Titans in the comments on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV. We're going 10-6 positive vibes. Y'all, says King Mofaka. Well, technically you would be going either 11-6 or 10-7 given the 17-game season. Adam Rank predicting against us, Anthony Doherty. Well, yeah, basically this is what I come away with because Adam Rank is like the focal point for all of Titans fans' ire because he picked the schedule, and schedule predictions are stupid largely, but he picked the schedule without any knowledge of the team that he was forecasting. And this is where things get complicated when you're talking about win totals because the win totals for the Titans are consistently off base. Adam Rank is the perfect example of this heading into the 2019 season when the Titans ended up in the title game for the AFC after going 9-7. Adam Rank picked them to go 3-13.
Titans. This is going to be a tough one because the first 4 games of the season are against 4 playoff caliber teams going up against the Browns, the Colts, the Jags, the Falcons. You got a loss, you got a loss, you got a loss, you got a loss. Now you're 0-4, but you know what? Even though I like the Buffalo Bills, I think being at home, you get a win there. You end up getting a win. No. You're going to end up losing to the Broncos, going on the road and losing there. What I do think you will do, playing host to the Chargers are going to be in a little bit of a weird part of their schedule right here, where they'll be looking ahead, which is an opportunity to go out, sneak a win against the LA Chargers, one of the best teams in the NFL, and then You beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so now you're sitting here, week 8, 3-5. You think like, okay, we could turn this around. Maybe there's some hope for the future. And then you go to Carolina. You're like, okay, that you lose again to Carolina. Then you got to play host to Kansas City. All right, that's a tough one. All right, it's 3-7. You got a bye week. Perhaps you regroup. You make a strong run. You win out. You could probably get a playoff berth, but you got to play my friends down in Duval County. There's a loss. You got to go to Indianapolis. There's a loss. At the Raiders, loss. Okay, now we're just. I don't mean this personally. If Taylor Lewan is seeing this, if Marcus Mariota is seeing, listen, huge fans of you guys. But unfortunately, the way I see your schedule working out, 3-13, I don't want it to be this way. If I could have been unrealistic and given everybody 13 wins, I would do that. But you know what? The way the schedule works out, especially with the tough start, you got some tough games here in the middle stretch from weeks 10, 12, and 13. And then at that point, the season is just starting to unravel. So unfortunately, Tennessee Titan fans, it's not going to work out playoff-wise, but you'll get a cool draft pick. So you got that to look forward to. Beat the Texans. You finish 8-8. You're just outside of the playoffs. I know a lot of people, you kind of romanticize what happened at the end of last year, but you're expecting Ryan Tannehill to continue to play at that level. You've given Derrick Henry way too many carries over the last couple of years. This seems like an optimistic prediction for me, but I have the Titans at 8.
So 2 years in a row, Adam Rank botches it. It's in 19 and in 20, Adam Rank just doesn't. This is the thing that perpetually bothers me. A to Z Sports Primetime from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios, Buck Rising here with you. We're talking about the projected win totals if you're just now joining the show on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, where people get the Titans wrong because they don't watch the Titans. The thing that bothers me, and I don't know Adam Rank, I'm sure Adam Rank is probably a good and decent human being in his life and in his job, but what bothers me there is that Adam Rank didn't do his homework. Adam Rank doesn't know the team that he's projecting. Now, the NFL Network, I'm sure, put him in a position to where he's making picks for all of these teams, and he simply can't know everything about all 32 NFL franchises. It's not possible. But if it's not possible for him to do, then he shouldn't be put in a position for us to just roast him when he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. This is where I come back to with the projected win totals by with William Hill. 9.5 wins for the Tennessee Titans. And I'll tell you where I am in this because I'm asking you guys under 9.5, over 9.5, or just right. The projections by William Hill on the Tennessee Titans 2021 season. I'll explain to you what my position is just for one simple fact alone right after I remind you guys about our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Not William Hill. They're going to treat you right at DraftKings Sportsbook. They're going to get it right at DraftKings Sportsbook. Like with this upcoming UFC 261 title fight that is going to be going on. Masvidal Usman, they put on a show the last time they stepped into the octagon. Round 2 this weekend is certainly going to pack a punch. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight with 26-1 odds on either title contender to reign victorious. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't worry if MMA isn't for you. DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on basketball, hockey, and so much more. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code A2Z Sports that you see behind me when you sign up to turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. Place your bet. Watch the fists fly this weekend. That's code A2Z Sports to turn $5 into $130 if the fighter of your choosing takes home the crown for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. DraftKings Sportsbook and the DraftKings Sportsbook app using the promo code A2Z Sports. They will get you in a good position. Under, over, or just right 9.5 wins. It's the question we're asking you guys here tonight on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Let's see. Alan Taylor Jr. says, does anyone ever do their homework on the Titans? No, so here's why, Alan. Okay, so there are few people who do, like Mina Kimes. I trust her analysis. Diana Rossini, I trust her analysis. I know that those two in particular, and it's not, Mike Giardi, I trust his analysis. These are NFL national people from the NFL Network and ESPN respectively, who I know pay attention to the Titans. Outside of those three, nobody else is paying attention to the Titans. And I'll tell you exactly why, okay? And I feel like I give this speech, I feel like once every year and probably twice a year, because you guys always find something to get upset about that the national media did to you. And it's just something that you have to remember. The Titans don't draw ratings. So network television does not talk about the Titans. I watched a segment on NFL Live last week where they're talking about threats to the Chiefs in the AFC. Do you know who was mentioned? Was the Bills, was the Ravens, and was the, if I remember correctly, Bills, Ravens, and there's a third team that I'm leaving out who is escaping me right now, but nobody was talking about the Titans until one of the cast members brought it up and say, I don't know why we're not talking about the Titans. They're the greatest threat, and I trust Mike Vrabel to get it done. And he was largely dismissed. I'm blanking on the reporter's name. He used to cover the Miami Dolphins forever. It's not, I always want to call him, Jeff Darlington. Jeff Darlington was the one who brought up the Titans. Be like, hey, why the hell aren't we talking about the Titans? And nobody wanted to go anywhere near it because nobody wants to talk about them because they don't bring eyeballs. Nationally, here locally, of course, we know that they're the biggest game in town, without question. The NFL is going to succeed overall. Now, TK Bullis points out something that is true. That's not necessarily true. Good Morning Football loves us. Yes, Good Morning Football. Well, here's what Good Morning Football loves. Good Morning Football loves highlights, okay? Good Morning Football loves highlight reel plays. Who produces highlight reel plays? Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. So Good Morning Football gravitates towards the highlight plays. Now, I know that Kyle Brandt does pay attention. I know that Nate Burleson does pay attention. But other than that, they are gravitating towards the highlight reel plays. And also, the NFL Network's job is to talk about the NFL's leading rusher. Derrick Henry is the only reason that they get discussed. So they love Derrick Henry. I wouldn't say that they love the Tennessee Titans. They love Derrick Henry, rightfully so. Over, under, or just right, the projection of 9.5 wins for the Tennessee Titans. And here's what I'll say to you. They are egregious. They are egregious for this respect only. Okay, from this respect only. The Titans valued at 9.5 wins, and I'll read you who they are valued at 9.5 wins with. This is according to William Hill, okay? I'll read you exactly who the teams are. I've got the graphic on my phone. So right now, New Orleans Saints, no Drew Brees, Dallas Cowboys, Dak coming back from injury, Tennessee Titans. Those are the three who are projected at 9.5 wins. Now, you could argue that the Cowboys and the Saints are inferior teams to the Titans. Maybe you think they're right about this. This is where it doesn't make sense to me. Seahawks at 10, Niners at 10, Colts at 10. The Colts got worse at quarterback, and yet their win projection improved. The Colts are worse on their defensive line, the strength of their team last year, because they did not pay Danico Autry. In fact, they let him walk to Tennessee for a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. Very good value. The Colts got worse. Now, the Titans are worse on offense. They got more balanced, better on defense, worse on offense, just based on offseason moves. We'll see what the draft bears out. But the Colts got worse and got a better win projection total. I am never going to be able to understand that because 9.5 wins is fair, but it is just dumb that the Colts are projected at 10. This is why it does not make any sense to me. Here on A to Z Sports Prime Time from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios, the Colts got better. I would not be offended, even if they were at the same win, projection as the Titans. I would not find this so ridiculous. But I find it ridiculous because at the most important position, nothing that Carson Wentz did last year told me that he is going to be a substantially improved player at the position than Phillip Rivers was last year. Colts won 10 games last year on the strength of their defense, their offensive line, and their running game. Their offensive line got worse. their defense got worse. Their running game, by transitive property, because the left tackle is gone, is going to get worse. And their quarterback play is worse. Make that make sense to me. And I don't care about this stuff. It's dumb every year, says Tavares on YouTube. Of course, I totally understand. This stuff is so largely just off-season fodder. But I want it to be factual in its analysis. And the analysis does not add up with the Vegas win projections at this point. 9.5 for the Titans, it's just about right. 10 for the Colts, based on what? Make that make sense to me. That's what I don't understand here on A to Z Sports Primetime. Wentz isn't better than Rivers, says TK. I'm absolutely agreeing. Maybe because Wentz greater than Rivers, says Dion. Based on what? Dion, how much Philadelphia Eagles did you watch last year, Dion? Because I've watched a fair amount on Game Pass since the season is concluded to see exactly what the Colts are getting and really what the Titans are going to be facing in Carson Wentz. You know what I see when I watch Carson Wentz last year? I see 2019 Marcus Mariota. I see a broken player. I see a player that doesn't trust what's around him. And maybe he's going to a better team in Indianapolis than he was in Philadelphia. But Philadelphia, the problems were mostly generated by Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz and injuries. You want to be fair. But Carson Wentz is not the player that we saw, what was that, 2016? That they made the Super Bowl run, and Nick Foles ultimately won it. Carson Wentz had an MVP caliber year before he got hurt, and everything went to hell after he tore his ACL. Now, not went to hell because they won a Super Bowl, but for Wentz, everything went to hell after that. 9.5 makes sense for the Titans. 10 for the Colts doesn't add up here on A to Z Sports Primetime. Let's move on, though, and let's talk about the Super League concept that's going around in European soccer, because I want to apply it to the NFL and see if we can make a conversation out of this. Let me know in the comments section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV, what teams would an NFL Super League consist of? Now, I don't know how many of you know what's going on in European soccer right now. I know that's probably not the majority of the Tennessee audience, given that most of our audience is here in Tennessee. But I'm going to explain to you what's going on with the Super League concept in European soccer right now, because it's really, really bothering a lot of people about the way that it's going to affect Champions League and what's basically become a major controversy in European soccer. The Super League in European soccer will be a 20-team league made up of 15 permanent members, with the remaining 5 members of the league comprised of teams which qualified through domestic European League competition. So it's all of the greatest and most famous teams in a Super League in European soccer, and basically picking and choosing who else gets to join their club. So if we did this in the NFL, obviously we're not going to do a 20-team league at this point, but I'm going to give you 6 who make a lot of sense for this. Let me know on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV, which NFL teams would an NFL Super League consist of. While you guys do that, I'm going to tell you about our friends at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. They're the best. They're the best in the business because they're the official real estate agent of the Titans, the Preds, who are winning big right now, and A to Z Sports Prime Time. The testimonials that people leave about the Ashton team, not just myself, who purchased my home through the Ashton team, but people like Mackenzie McNeil, who writes on the Google reviews for Gary Ashton. Our realtor, Tori Tyler, was absolutely amazing. She knew exactly what we were looking for and worked with us for almost 2 months to find the right house. We were so lucky to have an offer accepted during this crazy market. Professionalism, quality, responsiveness, and value. That is what the Gary Ashton team offers you, offers all Middle Tennesseans, and helps you sell for more if you're in the market to do so, or find your dream address without the stress at GaryAshton.com. They are the best in the business for a reason. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. And you know what Gary looks like? You see the billboards all over town. The big man right there, Gary Ashton, and GaryAshton.com here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Which teams would an NFL Super League consist of? Just give me some names, and I will go ahead and tell you which 6 that I have selected out of the 32. It only makes it sweeter. El Boogie 808 says, are they trying to form the Avengers? Basically, European soccer is basically trying to trying to create the Avengers. John Vargas says we have to pick six. Buck, no, you pick as many as you want. Throw out some names. I'm going to pick six. Six sounds like too many to give you guys on the fly. So I'm going to select six. You guys can do as many, as few, or as many as you want here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Is it really, let's see, isn't it really best but our money status of home place, says Puka. Donovan Romaine says Chiefs, Pats, Titans, Rams, Bucks, and Packers. That's from Donovan on YouTube. Dean Ward says the Packers, the Steelers, the Chiefs, Cowboys, Patriots, and Saints, all about that television deal. Dean is 1,000% correct. King Mofalka chimes in. The Green Bay Packers, the Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Cleveland. You guys are giving me a lot of these. If there were only 6 teams, wouldn't they focus on the largest markets? Says Joshua. Yeah, largely they would. Largely they would. So here's the 6 that I would select here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. I would go, if I had to choose, based on television dollars and based on teams who regularly draw, I would go with the Packers because they're 100 years old. They've been around forever, and they have one of the most famous quarterbacks in the league. I would go Steelers, name brand, Super Bowl titles, Patriots for the same reason, Cowboys and Giants. I would throw in there the Eagles because there's a reason that the NFC East is always on television. So for me, Packers, Steelers, Patriots, Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles. The name brands, the Chiefs are probably right there on the line, and honestly, they should probably get in over the Eagles just based on the fact that they're supposed to have Mahomes for the next basically decade. So I would understand if you wanted to take out the Eagles in favor of the Chiefs, but I'm going off historic brand names in the NFL, and I would say to you that the Steelers, Packers, Pats, Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles are who would end up being in the NFL's Super League if they did it like European soccer. Nick LeClaire says Chiefs, Pats, Seahawks, 49ers, Dallas, Steelers, Ravens, Rams, Titans, Cleveland, Miami, Minnesota, says Lewis Chesney. Lewis, as always, big swing, big miss, but I love you anyway, buddy. Keep it going. David Francis says, hi, Buck. Liked in MI. Is that Michigan? I turned 50 tomorrow. Thanks for going live tonight. Well, thank you. You don't have to thank me, David. I got paid to do this, but thank you for showing up. Buck throws Steelers away. They're no longer the same team, even though Big Ben is still there. Steven, no, you can't. Steven, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a historic brand in the NFL. The Patriots, I'm not sure. I believe, if I remember correctly, that the Steelers and Pats are now tied for Super Bowl titles. I think that the Patriots have more Super Bowl appearances, but in terms of championships won, the Steelers and the Patriots are up there alone. I think the 49ers are right there on the edge too. You cannot throw away the Steelers. The Steelers are one of the biggest brands in the sport. And if we're going off brand, which we are, the Steelers absolutely have to be in there. European Super League is pure BS, totally a money move, says Dean Ward. Yeah, but it's a money, these are businesses. This is the thing that I'll never understand. Or, I understand, but why I don't necessarily get why fans don't understand it. Is that these are not things built for you and for me for the enjoyment of the sport, for fandom. They are built to make money. They are built to make money off you and me. In fact, I make money off of it. There's a massive economy around these things. So to say that it's BS, it's totally a money move. Well, all of the things done in a business are largely about the money. European soccer is absolutely no different. No, by no stretch of the imagination is the NFL above something like this. Which NFL teams would a Super League consist of? Pittsburgh brings more fans to Nissan Stadium than the Titans, says Chris Bork on Facebook. The Bills, also a historically great brand, historically passionate fan base. Titans for Life says, that's so silly. The Steelers won 4 of their 650 years ago. Laughable. Titans for Life. I cannot dispute the number of fans they have. You cannot dispute the number of fans they have. You cannot dispute the television numbers that they bring. You cannot dispute the dollars that they generate. For whatever the reasons are, for as long ago as the history has been for their championships, they are considered a regular. I don't know how to phrase this. Not a regular contender, although they are that, but they are considered a historically great franchise because of all of the championships, the entire body of work, the fans, the history, how long the team has been around. This is one of the most historically important franchises in the history of the league. You cannot dismiss the Steelers, no matter how long ago their championships were. Both condescending and long-winded. G's Buck says, G. Well, first off, well, you did correct yourself, G. So I will not beat up on you for spelling and grammar. But I will say to you, I'm not condescending. I'm talking to you like an adult. Can you not be talked to like an adult? Can you not handle adult conversation? Long-winded. Do you see anybody else around here? Do you see anybody else who is going to talk? Do you understand? Now, maybe, G, you're new around here, and that's okay. If you're new, welcome. This is how we greet newcomers. But if you look around on this set in my office here in my studio that Austin and Zach of A to Z Sports built in my home, you will see that there is not another person to talk. If you are tired of me talking, G, well, that's just too damn bad because I get paid to talk for 5.5 hours a day. G, I pay my mortgage based off being long-winded. I'm long-winded because I have to be long-winded because there's nobody else here to talk. Gee, what the hell do you think this is? Surely you're not that dense. Surely you can use ration. Surely you can use reason. Surely you can pay attention to what the hell is going on. Long-winded? No, dumbass. It's a single show. It's literally designed for me to be long-winded. What the hell are you talking about? Be better. That's all I ask. Pay attention. Look at your surroundings. It's okay. I still love you. Welcome to the show. Here on A to Z Sports Primetime. That's what we got. You got to be indoctrinated. Now G is one of us. Now we can move on. Welcome to the program, G. We appreciate your participation. Just know that anything that pops up in here, it's fair game because I see it all. Dang, Buck is going wild, says Tom Malinsky. I knew it was coming. Buck, I love you, but come on. Luke Corbett. Yeah, I know. Just got here just in time, says Dancing Worldwide. Buck's on a roll. I didn't do it last night. I got to get a little loose. I was a little fired up on the radio show today, but that's okay. We move on. Super teams in the NFL. It's going to be the biggest brands, the biggest dollars, the biggest number of television ratings that can be drawn. That is exactly where that is exactly what an NFL Super League would consist of if they were to go the route of European soccer. Pacing. Pace yourself, says G. G, I know how to pace myself. I do this. I appreciate the feedback, G. If I pace myself too much, if I speak too slowly, I will lose most people's attention. If I speak like Jim Nantz on the golf course, you're not going to care about anything that I have to say. I am going to be animated so that I can keep people's attention, G. I'm keeping your attention because you're clearly distracted by the way that I act, the way that I go about my broadcast. But thank you for your feedback. We appreciate your time. Buck, just Red Foreman is a throwback. That 70s show, fantastic television. Bucky too much tonight, says El Boogie 808. I'm too much every night. It's okay. We keep it moving here on A to Z Sports Prime Time from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. 9.5, says John Vargas. Yes, John, you're way behind. It's okay. If leagues go to that format, what happens to the other teams and players? Xavier, it's just a projection. We're just talking about it because it's the biggest story in sports today, honestly, but there's no way for me to talk about European soccer. There's no way for me to talk about European soccer and keep you guys engaged. So we had to make it an NFL topic, and I think we did that successfully. Why do you look like Andrew Luck but sound like Peyton Manning, says Coney Kids 2012. Well, both of those people are very, very rich. So I hope that I can, even if I get a fraction of Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning's bag, I'll take that. Coney Kids 2012 here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. All right, let's move on to Alex Smith. He obviously announced his retirement on Instagram earlier today. The question that I am asking you here on A to Z Sports Prime Time is, should the Comeback Player of the Year award be renamed for Alex Smith? Let me know on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitch TV. Fair or foul? in the comments section. Give me your answer, fair or foul, renaming the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award after Alex Smith. You guys give me your answer in the comment section. I will give you my response here shortly, and you will see Alex Smith's retirement video momentarily on the Primetime Show right after I tell you about the fine folks at the Ashton Real Estate Group no, we already told you about Gary Ashton, but that's okay. We love Gary anyway. But Gary can't have two shout outs because we got to make room for our friends at Brymak Mechanical, Brymak, Brymak.com. That's satisfaction guaranteed on each and every one, literally each and every one of your HVAC needs. You got a commercial business, they'll hook you up. You have a residence, they will take care of you. They will get you in your comfort zone as we get into warmer weather. You want to make sure that your AC is functioning at a high level. You can do so with preventative maintenance at Brymak Mechanical, Brymak, Brymak.com. Fair or foul? Let me know here in the comment section, Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch TV. Let me know here in the comment section, do you allow or would you allow for the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award to be renamed the Alex Smith NFL Comeback Player of the Year award because of how crazy his story is? This courtesy of Alex Smith's Instagram, where he announced his retirement earlier today.
At my mangled leg, wondering if I'd ever be able to go on a walk with my wife again or play games with my kids in the yard. Putting my helmet back on was the farthest thing from my mind. I just kept asking myself, all this for a stupid game? But then someone did something that changed my recovery completely. He put a football back in my hands. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden I felt stronger, more driven, and what once seemed impossible began to come into focus. And the truth is, over the course of my life, that's what this game has done for me. I was a skinny, no-name recruit who wasn't even supposed to play in college, let alone go to New York as a Heisman finalist, or be the first one to have his name called on draft night. And then, on a routine play, I almost lost everything. But football wouldn't let me give up, because no, this isn't just a game. It's not just what happens between those white lines on a Sunday afternoon. It's about the challenges and the commitment they require. It's about how hard and how far you can push yourself. It's about the bond between those 53 guys in the locker room and everybody else in the organization. It's about fully committing yourself to something bigger. And most of all, it's about you. So to everyone out there, whether you're a part of Niner Nation, the Chiefs Kingdom, or the Burgundy and Gold, I thank you. To all the men I had the privilege of standing with and playing alongside, thank you. I want to say thank you for believing in me. And thank you for helping me believe in myself and in the impossible.
And here we go. Wow. Folks, Alex Smith for the first time since...
Because even though I've got plenty of snaps left in me, after 16 years of giving this game everything I've got, I can't wait to see what else is possible. But first, I'm going to take a little time to enjoy a few of those walks with my wife, and my kids have no idea what's coming for them in the backyard.
That's Alex Smith's retirement video. Alex Smith, the Comeback Player of the Year award. I believe it should be renamed after him. Fair or foul in the comment section. You know that I got to go fair. There's never been, I mean, there have been stories like Alex Smith, but never one so universally regarded as being such an incredible person. Patrick Mahomes constantly credits Alex Smith with the way that he turned out, with the success that he had. Patrick Mahomes loves Alex Smith for the way that he was handled as a veteran welcoming in a rookie, and rookies aren't always welcome in, especially at that position. Ask Tom Brady and Jimmy G. It doesn't necessarily go smoothly. But for Alex Smith to go through all of the things that he has, whether it's being benched for a concussion or losing his job to Colin Kaepernick due to a concussion because he was injured, whether it was the situation where he was Wally pipped by probably the greatest quarterback that any of us have ever seen to this point in Patrick Mahomes, or the way that he came back from an injury after helping start the Washington football team off the last time that he played for them in a really, really good spot and leading them to a winning record while he was out there this year and ultimately a playoff berth, helping them find a playoff berth. Alex Smith is a tremendous human being. Ben Hall says, damn allergies, man. Name the trophy after him. Have him handed out every year, says John Vargas. It's so cool. It's so cool. So I see this and I say it may be recency bias, but the man really does deserve it. For all of the things that Alex Smith has gone through, it is worth remembering the people like that for eternity, basically. And that is what you would be doing if you renamed the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award after Alex Smith. It's a good idea. Obviously, Alex Smith wasn't interested in mentoring Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville this time for life. I mean, I don't think it's that dramatic. I think, at some point, it's just like, is it really worth it to go through this again? I mean, none of us here know, and I don't know what everybody's backgrounds are. I don't think we have too many former NFL players in here, especially the type of people that have gone through the leg injuries that Alex Smith has gone through that nearly cost him his life and his leg, or potentially his life, given the infections that he sustained. But I don't think it's about Jacksonville. I think it's just about, is it worth it physically to go through this again and be away from his family? And he decided no, and that's okay. It's a good thing when guys like that step away at a point before it gets too far gone, right? Peyton Manning was able to win a Super Bowl, even though at that point he was too far gone. He did it on the strength of Von Miller just being an insane person and beating the holy hell out of people throughout the course of that postseason. That defense was nuts. Donovan says, okay, after that, Buck, I agree. If you take into considerations how many times he had to come back, then I kind of agree now. I mean, Donovan, I understand you're all entitled to your opinion, but I will say to you that the only correct opinion on this particular subject is to rename the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award after Alex Smith. Congratulations to him on a fantastic career. Really, really fun to watch and to see the way that he's handled himself throughout the course of his 16 years. Really fun to hang out with you guys and to see the way that you handle yourself. Even G. Even G, the way that you guys participate each and every night, thank you for doing so. We very much enjoyed it. If you have not already, so I got a bunch of things to plug, so I'm going to plug a bunch of things. Dean says, Mahomes' greatest QB ever? Not yet. Well, he's the most physically talented. Now, I'm not going to get into this conversation. Dean, get the hell out of here. It's the end of the show. Stop it. Get away. No more debate tonight. So, in the meantime, my radio show on 104.5 The Zone from 10 to 1 Central Time. If you would like to participate, you can do so there as well. We're on from 10 to 1. We're also live streaming on 104.5 The Zone's Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch TV. If you would like to participate there. Today on the radio show, we had Vols baseball coach Tony Vitello. We had Dane Brugler, one of the best draft analysts in the business right now, as we are now 10 days away from the NFL draft. A lot of draft talk coming your way here on Primetime and on the radio show. The name of the radio show, if you can't catch the radio show live, it's Buck Rising on 104.5 The Zone in your favorite podcast app. Also tomorrow, 615 Sessions podcast. It's the 2-year birthday of the podcast. So we celebrated with our friends Joe Rexrode and Emily Proud. A very happy second birthday to my 615 Sessions podcast. That thing is near and dear to my heart. It's the whole reason that I get paid to do this. So I love the hell out of that podcast. Comes to your feeds midnight Tuesday morning with Joe Rexrode, Emily Proud, and all of your Music City mailbag questions. You have a few moments, just a few, to squeeze in another Music City mailbag question. If you so choose, you can send those to me at Buck Rising, just as you see spelled below there on Instagram. Slide in my DMs. We'll get to them on the podcast each and every Tuesday when we do the podcast. See you tomorrow on the radio. We've got Austin Burlage from Power T Tape, a lot of Vols talk tomorrow, and we'll spend some more time on these NFL win totals because I got a lot more to bitch about, and I got 3 hours of radio to do it before another primetime show. In the meantime, you know that I'm not tired yet because I got too much to do. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time or thereabouts. But as always, we got to let the Mississippi Mass Choir take us out. No!